Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining today's webinar, Stayntouch Product Enhancements, version 5.86, Exciting Changes to Reports, Multi-Property Availability, and more, presented by Stayntouch Implementation Consultant, Natasha Leck. I'm your host, Erin Fisher, the content writer here at Stayntouch. Today's presentation will cover how you can get the most out of the Stayntouch PMS version 5.86 product release. In this webinar, we will cover the following enhancements: the new AR manual balance permission, the new accounts receivable show filter defaults to open balances only, the new Swiss QR code, monthly totals added to the business on the books report and the forecast report, daily production report and daily production by demographics report now display totals, group rooms report you can now run for no more than 2 months, and the group rooms report also shows picked up and available revenue. The option to export the complementary rooms report to CSV, several integration enhancements, and finally, multi-property dashboard availability. We'll have a short Q&A session at the end of the presentation. Feel free to submit questions throughout the presentation, and we'll answer them in the order they are received at the end. And that's all I have right now. Natasha, I'm going to switch over to you.
Thank you. That sounds great.
All right. There we go.
All right. We have a lot to cover today, so let's dive right in. The first item of the release webinar 5.86 is in regards to the AR manual balance permission. Now, beforehand, there was no permission for this, and you were able to add a manual balance for your AR transactions tab. It was the green button that would say plus add manual balance. And this is now dependent on the permission that we can find under hotel and staff and permissions. So it is called add AR manual balance. As you can see, my user at the moment does not have this permission assigned. So when I now go to have a look at my accounts receivable, you will see that the green button to add manual balance is now not here. The second option is also, or the second feature is also in regards to accounts receivable. When you go into your account receivable screen, so from the menu under financials and account receivable, you can see that what we see for our AR is our open balances. On the right-hand side, we can find the filter where we can see the open balance only. But if you also want to see all or only 0 balances, we can see those here at the top. But it defaults now to open balances only. An item of the release notes as well that I just want to mention is the Swiss QR code. This is in regards to direct bill and AR invoices, where the Swiss QR code is now supported as well. If this is a feature that you want to have enabled, please contact support for this. We're going to move on to many new report functionalities. So from our menu, the first one that I want to have a look at is our business on the books report. Under reports and new report, I'm going to search for my business on the books report. And on the right-hand side, we can now see that we get the option to include monthly totals. Now, it's important to note that this will only work if the report covers multiple months, right? So now we are in the same month, and you can see that that does not work. But when I cover it like this, you can see that I can now click on this toggle. And when I go to run the report, let me show you what this is going to look like on the business on the books report. You can see here that for October, we're going to have our total listed here at the bottom. And for November, because I covered both of the months, you'll be able to see the total listed here as well. This works obviously for the PMS view, which is what I'm showing you now, but it also works when you download the CSV, when you print it, or when this is a scheduled export. The same information is also for the forecast report. So if I pull up my forecast report here, you can see that this date range covers the month, so I am able to include my monthly totals. This is the filter that we can select for that. And when I run my report and I go to the inbox, I'm a little bit too fast for our report today. Let me have a look. We can see here our October total. And again, this is showing for PMS view, for downloading the CSV, when you print the report, as well as when you schedule the export. But it's important to note that that the report needs to cover multiple months for this total to show. Alrighty. That was the business on the books and the forecast report. Let's have a look at our daily production report. Under reports, we can find our daily production, and the first one we're going to have a look at is the one by room type. And what you can see here is that we're also going to have an option to display totals. We can do this for a date range. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to run two reports so that I can show you the difference. So when I run it without displaying, the way that we are used to, and then we will have the option with the total show. Now, you will see on that first daily production report that we have our normal filters, and then from here it's going to start with October 1st. Now, if you have the option to include the totals selected for the report, you can see that I'm going to have this totals option here that is going to include the columns that we can see here of the date range that I had selected. This is the case for the daily production report by room type that I'm showing you now, but this is also the case for the daily production by demographics. So when I display my totals for a date range selected, and I run this report, you can see here that we are going to have our totals option listed before October 1st, which is the date that I was looking at, with the information included. Alrighty, a lot of report information. We're going to continue with our reports, and we're going to go and have a look at the group rooms report. For the group rooms report, the first enhancement that we can see is that we can only run this report for 2 months at a time now. So if we're looking at the 15th of October, we can then see that this goes until the 15th of September. That is the date range that I'll be able to create the group rooms report for. Second enhancement that we can see for the group rooms report is that it's now going to have this option to show picked up / available revenue. Now, again, let me show you the difference. So I'm going to run a normal one, and I'm going to run one with the show picked up and available revenue. Oh, let me go to the inbox. So this is the report that we're normally used to. And I would like to say, keep an eye on the picked up rooms and the available rooms. So here we can see that information. And when I select to display the totals or the revenue, you will be able to see that next to the picked up and the available rooms, you can also see that revenue listed, whether that's for available or for picked up. And you'll be able to see that per day, as you can see in here. And we can see that for all of the groups. And this is obviously having a look at a certain date range. Okay, I will continue now with the next report. So when we have a look at our complementary rooms report, once we run this report, now from the inbox, we are also able to download this report into CSV. Right, those were my those were my report updates. Let's have a look at some of the new integrations. So I'm going to pull up the webinar or the release notes in here so that I can show you a list of the new API integrations. So we're going to have OTA savings by XQuick, And again, for all of these integrations, you can reach out to your client success manager or to customer support, and we can help you to enable this integration. On this list, on the release notes, you can also find if this is going to be available for you. So we can find, as I said, OTA savings, Bodhi, Spontaneous, SkyTab by Shift4, Kismet, AV PMI, Unified Solutions, Hotel OS, Nonia's Connection, Hotelier, NetSapiens, Hotel Genie, RIMS, and you can see as well that these integrations can be used globally. Have a look at this list. All of them are linked as well. So that way, when you click on it, you'll be able to find more information. And from there, you will also be able to see how that integration is exactly going to work for you with Stayntouch. Oh, there were some more. Wobi, Moncharge, Hotel Expert. All right. Next topic is in regards to Delphi integration. So I'm going to go back into my hotel. I'm going to go into the menu under settings and settings again. And this is specifically to do with syncing historic information. So when I go into integrations, under sales and catering, we can find Delphi. And then under the sync tab, once you click on synchronize historic data, obviously if this integration is enabled for you, let me just try that on the next page. We try that again. Seems like my user does not want to, but luckily I have another hotel. So let's have a quick look here. Hopefully this is not my internet. Okay, we got it, guys. We're here. So under the sync button, you've been able to see me find it for 3 times now, so you should be able to locate it under integration, sales and catering, Delphi. When I move into the sync button, obviously when the integration is enabled for you, under synchronize historic data, once I have this selected, you can see that account production 3 now becomes activated, and you're able to use this to sync that historic data always up to 30 days in total, and obviously a sync can only be done once every 3 hours. In the release notes, we can also find some additional information in regards to the vertical booking integration. For vertical booking for reservations, we've enhanced the handling of age qualification codes. We support profile types 5, 10, and convert into 4, and send room rate for up to 10 people. Obviously, this is relevant if you have a vertical booking integration. If you are interested in this information, you'll be able to find more of it here, or you can always contact your CSM or customer support. Now we have some API information. This is mainly relevant for our vendors. They will be able to find information here on that. This is for our Connect APIs. We have a new endpoint for payment link generation. There's an enhancement to the Get Accounts endpoint search functionality. There is an enhancement for custom group flag in group API responses. And then a new endpoint for gender configuration. An enhancement for new gender feature and guest APIs. A new endpoint for payment methods for posting account. New endpoint for fetch folios for given date. An enhancement to chain ID in hotel APIs. From here, there are also webhook enhancements. Again, this is information for the vendors. So chain IDs added to guest webhook, VIP and marketing communication webhook enhancement, room assignment success enhancement, room information and events payload. And this is for the vendors. If there's any information that they need, they can either reach out to customer support or to integrations for more information. All right, let's have a look at multi-property dashboard. We have some new functionality for this in regards to availability. Let me just move back into my chain dashboard so that I can show you this. Chain dashboard, we've seen this obviously already. We know that we have our properties here. Multi-property is something that needs to be enabled for your property. If you have multiple properties, of course, that's the way it's going to work. Make sure you reach out to customer support so that we can have a look to get this activated if you are interested. Now, from properties to availability, we are now able to see all of our different hotels listed in here. And if I open up my hotel, you'll be able to see the bar for this hotel, my occupancy. We can see this for the next 14 days. And I am now also able to open up the available rooms. And you'll be able to see the available rooms in this property listed here. And you can open this obviously per hotel to have a look. And I would be able to view this on full screen if there is specific information that I want to see more of. Or I can search for a specific hotel here at the top, same as with our properties. And then the same as with our normal availability screen, you will have a calendar here where you can search for a specific day that you're looking for the availability. And next to it, you'll be able to see the option to also view this instead of next 14 days to also show next 30 days. All right, that was all the information that I wanted to cover today.
Awesome. Thank you, Natasha. I'd now like to turn over the floor for questions. Remember, you can submit questions through the question box in the middle of the control panel. So I see we have a question from Jessie. She asks, is there any way to create a room release report?
A room release report. And what kind of information? Let me say it this way. It depends on the information that you are looking for. But I believe on the last slide, Erin is going to have an email address. Feel free to email or reach out to customer support with what information you're looking for in a report. And we'll be able to have a look and see if we can find that information for you. It's not part of the release notes for today.
All right, so thank you. And I'm not seeing any other questions, but I'll give everyone a few moments. Oh, we have one from Jeffrey. Will the capability of running a group rooms report for a longer duration come back? Not as.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Not as far as I'm aware. Do you have anything, Natasha?
No, I believe this is put in now for a specific reason, so I assume that's going to stay like this for a while.
Yeah. And I'm not seeing any other questions, but I'll give everyone a few more moments. All right, if there are no other questions, I'll switch back to my screen.
Thank you.
Thank you. 1 second while I try to find that screen. All right, there we go. All right. Oh. So since there are no more questions, I'd like to take to the floor to offer some final thoughts. So today we've reviewed the following enhancements: the new AR manual balance permission, the new accounts receivable show filter now defaults to open balances only, the new Swiss QR code, monthly totals added to the business on the books report and the forecast report, the option to display totals on the daily production report and daily production report by demographics, the option to run the group rooms report for no more than 2 months, plus the option to display picked up and available revenue, the option to export the complementary rooms report to CSV, our integration enhancements, and finally, the multi-property dashboard availability option. With that, I'd like to conclude our presentation. Thank you all for joining, and if you have any additional questions, feel free to email me at aaron.fisher@stayntouch.com. Thanks again.